Okay, so we have gathered here today to talk about how the situation in the world currently, how is everyone feeling and how you guys perceive what's happening. It might be very different in different countries, and it might be very different for each of you depending on what kind of feed, I guess, you receive on social media and so on. So maybe we can start with that. Whoever is ready to start or to share something, then it's open.
Okay, I think I would like to start. So can you all hear me well? Okay, perfect. So it's been 2.5 months. I'm back from Maya, and there's so many things happening, and there's so much is happening in my body, and it is something completely new. It feels like there is a shift, a paradigm shift in the way of how I see the world, or how the world is coming into me. It's all started with a lot of well-known thing in a dance community, like a carpet of electric thing over my skin, and it was for a long time. It will stay for a whole day, and um, and then it went on more into where I couldn't really almost say anymore what is real and what is not real, or what is reality. Not about, there is no question or even about the real, because sometimes I would dream, and some things I would do in the dream would happen in the day, in the other world also. And sometimes I would fully believe that whatever happened in my dream is exactly has happened, but then I would check in my house and there's nothing has changed. And it's continuous, like the it's for me it feels like there is something like a wave, and the wave is going through all many different realms. And when I am able to write on that, then I can really go through to see the story of the wave. And it's not anymore only in one realm or in one dimension. And it's really still continue to happening. I need to sleep almost 12 to 14 hours every night and every day, kind of. So I'm awake for 2 hours now. And yeah, um, it's I feel like there is so many, with so many other people also happening similar stuff, that there is a shift of the paradigm in how we see things, or how we experience things, or feel things happening. Um, yeah, things. It's very hard for me really to put in the words, and even coming out to talk about it was already hard. Yeah. Mm, I'm in this town. I'm in Berlin. I live in Berlin, but most of the time I spend uh, in the town alone, so that I don't have I there's no need for interaction at the moment, because there's so many things happening around me that I can feel so much everything in every moment. And since a week, through all those processes, um, there is something something in my body speaking to me, which is much. It has a kind of higher wisdom, or I don't know. I don't know how I even want to put those things into words, and already telling me in advance what is happening, or not in a language we understand, but more about it tells me what to do or not to do. And one of the major things it started to happen was to how I was seeing myself, how I judge myself so much. And then I could open that. Then there was something coming again and again, telling me, open for infinite possibilities. You know, I was not only seeing myself as a good, or not only seeing myself as a bad and pushing myself down, but to allow all the things to happen. And from there it started. And every moment this is coming again and again. Even if I say some words right now, at the same moment there are so many other possibilities I could choose to say, and it's always asking also the same thing again in that moment, to choose more than what I say. Yeah, that's where I'm at the moment here. Thank you for listening. Yeah. And maybe someone of you has similar experience with the dreams or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Or you feel connected, feel resonated, or even someone else shares something and I feel resonated. Let's see.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing and for mentioning dreams as well. I actually had super trippy dreams recently, and especially one of them where I had a dream and then I woke up, went to pee, I came back, and I had exactly the same dream, but it ended differently. So I see what you mean about like those limitless possibilities and different options. It was shown to me in the dream that the same scenario can end in different ways. Um, and it wasn't really up to me, even because I was acting the same in those two dreams until something changed. But what changed was outside of me, actually. So it wasn't me who created that change by my behavior. Um, However, obviously, we do have a power to direct also the flow of events in our life. But yeah, the dream space now, I think many people are experiencing so much in the dream world and feel so much in their body. So I will let other people speak to see what they have to share. Okay, so maybe I will share a little bit more. Um, what actually inspired me to ask people to join this Zoom is because after we watched a pandemic, we felt like there is so much happening that we don't know about, and there are so many theories And some of them are really hard to believe, some of them are more easy to believe, but essentially it's so hard to know what's happening at the moment. So we all try to find the truth in one way or another. So we go to all those different sources, but there is so much manipulation happening. And if any of you have seen, we watched recently the social dilemma and the dilemma, and then there was another one, the great hack. So how technology companies and social media is actually manipulating us into perceiving reality certain way by feeding us certain feed based on our personality, our likes, and so on. So then based on that, you can have this view of the world that seems like that's the reality and everyone agrees with you because you are always in this space, and it's just like kind of spiraling and fueling itself all the time. So it is hard to really take a step back and think, is it what I really think, or do I think that because I have been manipulated into thinking that, or because someone is feeding me lies, or because I'm only seeing one side of the coin? There's a lot of theories that are labeled as a conspiracy theories just because they're outside of the mainstream media narrative, yet a lot of them actually make sense to me, a lot of them don't. So how do you distinguish between what's real and what's not, and how do you position yourself based on that? How do you respond to everything that's happening? Because your response will be very much will depend on what you believe in, right? So I'm curious to hear, how do you guys respond to all this?
I didn't get the last part, but you shared, but I feel like there is something um, something speaking through all of us, either through media or through our bodies as a channel of the media, where the the different realities are shown and different possibilities, and the storyline is it's changing, and we are able to see the different storyline, which is not linear, and and that's that where also the boundaries between reality and all the other dimensions dissolves into that feels almost like a unbelievable, overwhelming feeling. At the same time, when we come together, there are so many different realities coming together where we speak and share. So even looking into the actual documentaries, media, we can see how so many different realities are speaking, and then what is actually the truth, our truth, and what is to, and that these are the question I'm wondering with around at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to share. Um, I'm really thankful for what Ahilan was bringing to space, and that Marta gave like a kind of an introduction again. Um, it's very interesting to me because Ahilan is in my country, and I think a lot about my country right now. I'm living here in Maya, and some people would call it being in a bubble, but it's so good. So many things that Ahilan is sharing are so resonating because it almost feels that you can be in a bubble everywhere. It doesn't matter. Um, and in a way, it almost feels that what Ahilan experiences is the same thing that a lot of people experience, including me. It's just on another level of consciousness or bodily experience. I can't really say why it feels so familiar and why it feels so different from mine, but there is really something that super resonates. And all in all, it is for me like what's coming, yeah, it comes to it goes down of these, the word possibility is a really good one, and I actually really love it because it is positive. We could probably also call it overwhelm. And I also want to frame it more positive, like where I am, it's like a huge process of discernment to what is it that what is it that I believe. And it is fucking hard. It is such a crazy shift in the world right now. And everybody by themselves needs to find out probably, what do I actually believe? And yeah, it shakes the system. Whatever you're gonna decide for. Oh, now my baby wakes up. So this is always my reality check. I have to go to Laya. Okay, I have to come back later. I need to go on mute. Sorry.
Um, yeah, since I'm back from Maya, I've experienced a lot here. I'm in Quebec, Canada. A lot also happened with me being into different processes, uh, feeling a lot of disintegration and creation of the self again and again. And I feel there's something that wants to be expressed through me, kind of an alignment with the truth, but at the same time, what is the truth? Like there's something that is that I am allowing to grow, and I'm allowing to be expressed without knowing what it is. And it brings me to it resonates with me also, the tapping into infinite possibilities, but also greater capacities of what we are, and understanding that I have been limiting myself so much because of beliefs. And what Isa shared was really also resonating, because what is it that I believe that prevents me to let this energy, or I can't have words for it, but let this be expressed through me. And I feel sometimes there's limiting beliefs. There's limits are not just mental. They can be also coming from the body, or emotions, or the culture where you are. And being in the bubble in Maya, and then coming here and I'm creating another bubble, it's like going through so much different little realities. And even here, like, I have different realities when I'm home, when I'm with my friends, when I'm with my family. It's yeah, it's really different. And I feel there's like a truth that wants to come out. And it's very interesting that people are also living this at the same time. And there's also kind of a thinner not limit, but there's something thinner, I feel, between reality and dreams. Because sometimes I wake up from my dream and it's like I was there, I lived this for real, and then I wake up and I'm like, what is the sense of self when you dream something that feels so real that you come back now into this reality, and I felt disconnected from the reality I was in, like here physically, and more connected to what the dream gave to me. Anyway, it doesn't make sense that much, but I don't know, there's something like the layer between the dream and reality that gets thinner. It's very interesting to be there and to observe what is the self in this, and in the reality, and in the different perspective that we have. And is it also the dream a possibility? Like, what am I able to do in the dream that I can or cannot do in this reality, that I'm limited sometimes by my physical body? Yeah. Thank you.
Hi guys. I just resonate a lot with all you're saying, and I think we all go in and out of this experiencing of these multiple truths, so to say. And just something which came in mind, or like something I stumbled upon, as somebody explained to me once, as to look at consciousness like a objective on a camera, which is zoom in and out. And the more we start to zoom out, we start to, sorry, I got a bit of a cold and I probably shouldn't smoke, but what we do. And yeah, it's just like there's a lot of, I feel like I start to pick up a lot of what's happening around me, and I can really easily empathize with what other people see as truths. And then like this negotiation or this like question, what is true then, when I can understand the left and the right and or the above and the below and like all these different aspects, and how to bring them all together. It's, for me, it becomes a play between like when we open up our consciousness and we become larger and larger and larger, or at least that's what it seems to me. Everything starts to become true, and it becomes a choice of like what, there's somewhat of freedom in it to actually choose what is true. It might become harder when I think of my dream of flying and then jumping down a building and actually try to fly. But there's a lot actually possible, and literally just perspective. And somewhat there's also, for me, an inability to actually go through these processes of experiencing one or the other. Like, it's like there's not, I'm not sure if there's a voluntarity, or like I can actually choose if I want to do this or that, more than I just have to experience all the sides. So as I take action or embody or identify myself with something, I sometimes feel like kind of instantly I get thrown into the opposite to experience the opposite. So I get this range of experiences, and along the journey, and I got stick in this journey of like playing ball between these two poles till the moment I actually somewhat liberate, or like I turn this empathy, or there's like this feeling, this experiencing of something into an equanimity, it's probably the word, like a state of it doesn't matter, but actually it matters at the same time. And I can then be more freely, and yet just be that, what is required in the moment being, if that makes sense. I'm a little bit stumbling in front of myself. So, but yeah, that's one thing which came.
Thank you. What I have realized recently is that during the whole pandemic period of time, I was feeling like I'm not scared because I'm not scared of the virus. So I'm like on the other side, and the other people who are scared of the virus and they are being really paranoid. And I always felt like, I can just take myself out of it and just observe it. But then I started to realize that it's not exactly true, because I'm scared. I'm just scared of other things. So it's really not that different, because I'm scared of the things that are happening at the moment that feels like my certain actions are being taken to restrict our freedom. And I think is that sense of freedom that is being threatened, that scares me much more than maybe the threat of the virus or getting sick. at the same time, I can see that it's not a real threat, because that freedom, the true freedom, can't really be taken away. However, all those measurements that are being in place, they are just getting stricter and stricter, and all those new laws are being pushed, and I just find myself in that paranoid space as well, like, oh my god, what are they going to do to us? Are they going to force us to vaccine and all those things? So there is a lot of fear in me as well, and it helps me to understand and be less judgmental towards the people that are scared for different reasons. Because if you take the reasons out of the question and admit that we are all, or most of us, are a little bit scared of what's happening and of all the uncertainty, then it's easier to have empathy for other people, and seeing how much division is happening in society and how divided we are at the moment. I think it's the most intense division that I have seen so far, because it looks like everyone has an opinion about all those hot topics right now, and people are so passionate about it, and they, like, you know, people are ending their friendships, and even amongst families, people are breaking the families apart because people have different opinions, and somehow it's a pretty scary space to be, where you feel like you've known someone for a long time, but if you express your opinion about something and it's different to theirs, it might cause you to fall apart completely. Yeah, that's just my thoughts for now.
On a global level, for me, it has even changed the view of inner dance itself and how it is expressing, because it feels like there is something, if I let go of all the personal stories, there's something speaking through all of us at the moment in a completely different level. And I would like to know if you are doing any inner dances either personal or with other people, and if there is something you notice with the people, would be interesting to listen to, if there's space for.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question. And I'm also interested. Pai said that he would share something about the recent inner dance processes, but he's not here. So if anyone else did anything, yeah, I would love to hear it.
I did a few inner dances here in Switzerland now, or recently, and personally I did many, and like I don't want to circle around the topic, but I feel a lot is like this the differentiation between the personal and the transpersonal, like the global, the collective. People experience things somewhat on a personal level, and yet they cannot associate it with like their personality or something in the space. So like this whole collective processing or individual processing, and yeah, that's a topic I have. But in the same time, like as I hold space here in Switzerland, and I've not, well, maybe I've done now like 6, 7, 8 dinner dances here. I don't really have something to compare to from the past, so to say, like or a couple of years ago. But I feel like this is a recurring topic. Is like what am I doing, like the I, me, myself, with all this information, like all this global, galactic, or whatever you want to call it, information. It's just so much, and it feels so true, and so as me, or like I'm definitely part of it, and yet like I step out into the world and I find myself as me. I wake up in the morning, I wake up out of my dreams, and I'm here. So now what do I do with that? It's just this, that's something which is definitely a question. And just as Ahilan said, like it's a shift of, for me personally, the inner dance is transforming. It's like, but it doesn't feel it goes away from where it comes, or it evolves. It more circles. I feel like I've like inner dance has in the 4 years or so, which I'm actively doing this inner dance quite often for myself, in groups or alone. I revisit topics over and over again, or like it shifts, but it sometimes comes back, and it's like it's crisscrossing, it's jumping, it's not. Don't know if there's an actual evolution, devolution, or whatever in a direction, or if it's just brings up whatever is needed the most. As I see myself in the personal topic as well, I'm like, yeah, I need more, I don't know, courage. And then I work upon courage, and life brings me events and invitations to apply my courage, and then 2 weeks later I just forgot about it, and I just like I'm back in the same old story. And then a couple of weeks later I have this new revelation of like, I need courage, right? And it's just like, and life just supplies with another set of courage. And then in the dance, it's like the cosmic has fallen a bit away for me, and it brought me more into the personal at the moment. But I know I have been there like 2 years ago, and so I have been in the cosmic already a couple of times, or like whatever we want to call it. So yeah, that's my experience. And my question would be then more like, well, especially as in a dance as the process itself, and we facilitating it for others, how to actually support people and ourselves in integrating the experience, or yeah.
Hey, Isa, you back? So maybe you want to continue what you were saying before. And thank you so much, Ricardo, for this interesting sharing.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I think just one thought that just came right now was that the question about the inner dance. I was just thinking um, that one of the big topics, of course, in the inner dance groups is a lot of times that people experience the oneness and see clearly forces of separation. And it's so interesting because I just understood that what is happening right now is actually exactly that. I think maybe there has never been something that felt so uniting because everybody is speaking about the same thing. But even this could be a narrative because I'm not sure. I don't know how they speak. They speak in Timbuktu about the coronavirus. I'm just assuming that everybody is just like in this. It feels like the world is in the same thing. It's like this one thing. So it has something very unifying, and on the other side, it has something so separating. So this is very interesting to me. So what I experienced in my last inner dances here, we had like a little immersion with Pi, was the same topics that I go through often, has a lot to do with rebirth, of course, other people experiences as well. And I shared that in the other call already. When I was born, that I felt that there was already a plan for me from the others, from a kind of a from something manipulative, which was pretty scary, but was also born in the same moment was this kind of rebellion, this rebel in me. That was very interesting, and other inner dance experiences have been as well that okay, the humans had their chance, that's probably it soon, and the whale's still gonna be there. That was like a big topic. It was all about whales. So that was very interesting. Um, but what I wanted to share, like before as well, was something that resonates maybe with what was said already, what Aylan as well said, or Fanny, that I came out of a meditation recently, and then I heard a song in the village. It was a song by Dire Straits, like a song from the 80s. And I was lying there in this in-between state. And it was the weirdest thing that I could not understand that it is a song. I did not understand. I didn't understand what it is. I just knew there is something. And it, it seemed to be like more like a materialistic object, like a street or a tree, but I did not understand the sound, and that this sound together makes a song. And experiences like this yeah, that maybe resonates a little bit with what Ahilan is going through. I don't know. It's just all, yeah, all these perceptions and concepts that we have in our, that we build up throughout our life. And I try to see as well the eyes more, and Marta, you will resonate with this very soon, the eyes more through my child, because everything is so new. He wakes up to a new day and everything is super new. And I can already see how he builds up knowledge that when we hear a plane, it's very rare, but there are planes now in the sky. When he hears that, and I tell him and I explain him what it is, without actually knowing what that is, when he hears the sound, he does this and he spreads his arms and he's like mimicking a plane just because I told him so. And this is pretty wild to see how we implement knowledge and beliefs so early. And he just shows me as well, he wants to be a part of this society, so he will continue doing these things because it seems to make his mom and dad happy when he does stuff like this. So, but there is the rebel. The rebel is in us. I can see it as well in my child. It's there, and I'm a little scared of it as well. It's like, oh, actually, yeah, it's a kind of a scary thing as well. And when I leave Maya, like I was not in town for 3 months or something. I just really don't go somewhere because I don't want to see masks, and I don't, because they also want, in Puerto Princesa, you have to wear these face shields plus a mask when you're in the mall, and it's absolutely ridiculous. That's my personal opinion about these kind of rules. But I went there and I had that mask on, and I just said, like, I'm doing it. I am one of them. I so don't want to do it, but I'm doing it. And I can't not do it because then I would not be able to go into the mall and extend my visa. So I so have to do that. I have to play. And I have to, yeah. And I must say, like, this cognitive dissonance is hard on me. It causes a lot of stress. It's almost like I'm also not used to it. I'm very clumsy because I go into a shop and first thing is I take the mask off because I think people would not understand what I say, and I'm just standing in front of them without the mask and they look at me like and yeah, it is I love what you said, Marta, about the fear. The fear is there. I have no fear of the virus itself, personally, like you. But there is a kind of another fear there. And I have a very big question that I ask myself all the time. Why am I actually more on the side of the non-believers of the narrative? What is it that I'm not, that I'm more looking into the freedom platform and watch Plandemic and all the other interviews and just feed myself with another kind of truth? And I think it is really because I feel this cognitive dissonance when I have to wear a mask on a motorbike driving alone, or see people having a mask on at the beach. It just really drives me nuts. And I get angry as well. There's this feeling of, yeah, and I also need to watch out not to be too preaching when I see somebody and I feel like, oh, this people might resonate a little bit with my thoughts, and I start to explain a lot of things that I read and see and watch. And but yeah, I'm very interested in what people say about their own beliefs, but needing to obey the law and the rules right now. And how do you feel in these moments? And how do you deal with these different emotions coming up? And what actually I also want to come back to Ahilan, because he spoke about judging himself. I think judgment is a big one as well. Yeah, judgment is a very big one, and losing friends and family members and things like what Marta said as well. So how do we discern? It's, yeah, that's my question right now. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. So thank you, Isa. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, that last word you said, discern. How do we discern the truth in this mess of information that we are in right now, where um where the word truth itself is somehow doesn't hold the same meaning anymore. Where where facts could be falsified, where where sometimes what we think as conspiracy or why conspiracy had that connotation that it is something that holds false belief. Now that um no, I was looking at that word conspiracy. Why does it hold for a lot of people that kind of connotation where it is something that needs to be frowned upon, where um, I, I'm all juggling these words in my head right now and my heart currently, where I'm really trying to discern how do we respond, how do we respond as a collective or as an individual when when our own perspective, our own autonomy to to say our truth, whatever that truth is, wherever that truth is coming from, is masked, is filtered. How do we see the culture? How do we form? How do we form a kind of information where where we hold everyone together when we are when we are pushed behind our own doors. It's so easy to go to go into that fantasy world and to get lost. And and I really resonate with that part when Isa said that sometimes you want to say your truth to people, meaning your truth, your opinion in this time where opinion is somehow wrong, where opinion is dangerous. Like I'm still like trying to put my head or wrap my head around what is more dangerous, a virus that could kill you or a belief that could kill a culture. Like how do we respond to something that we know is beyond our individuality, but at the same time our individuality is the means for us to navigate through it. When the whole collective, when the whole society is like, meaning the whole, meaning the other. the, the other part of the society which doesn't subscribe to all those conspiracy, um, to those parts where to those conspiracy where to those parts that doesn't want to imagine anymore. How do we relate to them? Like it's so hard to even relate to people sometimes, that so hard to relate even to family members when you are in a bubble, meaning you are in a part where you have sheltered yourself in. It could be a dream, it could be an imagination, it could be a protective mechanism from all this information mayhem that it's being fed to us. But sometimes the bubble is there to 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 hold you together, to hold the information together, to hold the womb together, to hold the baby inside together, to make it intact. How do we respond to people who doesn't want to believe in that anymore? How do we even talk to them? How do we share that there's hope, there's something beyond fear, that the fear is something that's being utilized against our own hope, our own womb, our own mother. That, yeah, where's humanity now? Like it's really good that we start with in the context of a dream. How do we dream? This is all a nightmare right now. How do we go back to that dream where we can choose to stay here and not break away further? Because apparently it's obvious that they want us to, whoever they are, they want us to break apart. Like we are broken already, and they want us to particularize or pulverize more. But yeah, if the information is a weapon, information is also the medicine, perhaps. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me respond also, Fahania. Because now we are speaking about masks and being restricted in many different ways, and I totally feel what Isa was saying, because there is that feeling that I can't decide for myself, that I cannot just go without the mask because I decide that I don't want to wear it, because I will get fined. So what I do, I just like, wear it kind of underneath my face just to have it on. But it's like a part of me is like, okay, I'm rebelling a little bit because I'm not actually covering my face, but I still have it on. And then it's like, yeah, I'm doing it against myself because I'm being forced to do it by external force. And it feels disempowering. And it feels like we are being broken, like bit by bit. So first we will conform because we have to wear masks, so we'll put it on. Then we have to do this. Then we have to, I don't know, take a test or take a vaccine or whatever it is coming next. And it feels like every time we agree to it, because if we don't, we face very unpleasant consequences. We do something against ourselves. And that freedom of choice has been taken away from us. And I feel why you're angry. I don't feel it as strongly here because it's just people here actually, walk around the lake without the masks, and then when they go to the street, they wear them somehow. There's all sorts of really weird rules, according to, like, the market can only be open 3 days a week for whatever reason, because of the corona, or there's like all those weird rules that actually don't make any logical sense. And when you look at it, you know that it doesn't make sense, but you have to follow them. And it's like, why do I follow something I don't believe in? But then when you try to speak to people about it, then people would be like, oh, you are selfish because you want to put our lives in danger. If you don't do that, you are selfish. Or if you don't vaccinate your child, you are selfish because of you, my child is in danger. And then that's how we turn against each other, because people then look at you as a threat. So you can't really freely share those opinions, because then people will look at you like, yeah, you are a threat right now. You are bringing danger to society and you are selfish. So um, so, and then the other side could be the same, like, maybe you are selfish because you want me to do something against myself if I think that this is a threat to my own health, for example. But you still want me to do it because you are scared of the virus, or you are scared of any other illness and things like that. So then people blame each other, and it becomes really messy. And also, as Angela was saying, because we have all this information happening, and I really love what you said about information can be a weapon but can also be a medicine. But then how do we apply this medicine? If what we think is a medicine, and if we serve it to people, maybe they will understand something differently, but they don't accept this medicine, they don't take it as we wish they would. So therefore we cannot obviously forcefully feed people with this sort of medicine if they don't want to hear it, or that they just believe something else. So yeah, I feel pretty emotional sometimes about all those things that are happening, about things that especially recently with, they released this movie Cuties on Netflix, and then they've got all those like dolls and all those things that I feel like something really, really wrong is happening. But again, if you try to speak about it, then it's like, oh, conspiracy theory, or you are following Donald Trump or something, and everything is becoming really politicized as well, that your opinion somehow puts you in someone's camp. And even if you don't believe in any of those politicians, like someone would place you there, oh, you belong there, or you belong there. And then suddenly you are being labeled and put into all sorts of boxes. And then it's really hard to communicate because we don't hear each other anymore, and we don't hear what the other person is actually saying. We hear the narrative that, or they said something that would fall into certain narrative that we don't agree with. So therefore, their whole opinion and their whole everything they say is not valid anymore. Yeah, it feels very restrictive, and at the same time, usually in the space where we are the most restricted, this is where we can expand the most, because we have to expand in a different way that we've been expanding so far. We can't expand the same way. We just need to find a new way, and I want to look at it as an opportunity and opening to what can we do differently now. What if the power is being taken away from us in one way or another, then how do we claim it back, or how can we go around it, or what is it that we can do, or can we do something even though we are conforming to things we don't want to conform to? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for this. It's also something I've been looking into. After coming back in Germany, you have to wear a mask in supermarket, public places, and in public transportation. And so for me, it is always a question about what I feel in my body, and it's since I'm back, it's more like what I feel in my body, and I feel like there's always a fear if you wear the mask or if you don't wear the mask. It doesn't matter. There's always a polarity to feeling to wearing the mask or without. And it came back to me to the question, asking myself how this information, the download, can happen, and how can we open the space to have this download. And how as you already mentioned, it's not easy to speak to. When we speak to someone, there is most of the time even we realize there is a resistance. Mostly we are acting out of resistance. It's not going through. But at the same time, there is something about the information. It can be downloaded. And this is also changing the way how to hold space in inner dance. Maybe not that big, but at the same time also like how we can really create condition where a seed can grow. We don't need to tell the seed to become mango or banana or whatever. We just need to create the conditions so it can grow. And how we can start it with ourselves, for ourselves, how we can lay down and allow all those thoughts to happen, even to wear the mask or not how to wear the mask, or be a conspiracy terrorist or whatever, you name it, you know. And that was a very, very difficult part, because the first week when I arrived, I got myself into a discussion with someone at the bar, and I was out of the sudden, you know, me look at me, and I was a Nazi in Germany, you know, because I was supporting they thought I was supporting some thoughts which are not, which are also supported by the right wings. So it's like, it's really not logical at all. So there is not only the cognitive dissonance in each person, there is a logical dissonance happening in the society where things are not logical at all. And we don't know why, but we are following. So this is actually, at the same time with the cognitive dissonance is so strong, it's almost breaking everything. Yeah, it is breaking. That's what I feel in my body. It is broken already. It just, it's yeah. Yeah, the information is medicine. Information is everything. Information is we share. Information is download. this depends on how we are able to receive it for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to respond a little bit to what you said, Ahilan. Because when I hear the discourse about freedom and control in relation to wearing or not wearing masks, I feel that discussion for me is on the wrong level. Because it's, I mean, the value of it is it's bringing into focus, as Marta said, these questions of what is the relationship between individual interest and collective interest, and where are the boundaries, where is the give, where is the take. I feel that's important, but that we get sidetracked into a kind of what's for me like a false fight over freedom. Whereas I feel the underlying malaise that we have to deal with is much more difficult, and that is the sense that information, opinions, truth, reality, whatever you like to call it, is not reliable. And even when you think something is reliable, the fact that so many reasonable people are believing unreasonable things means that the context is one in which truth and reality are unreliable. And I find it a very uncomfortable kind of space to find myself in. Not because I have any particular personal truth or reality, but simply that it's very, very tiring and very, very wearing to feel that you're having to exercise constantly your discernment to manage a kind of current and countercurrent of truth and denial. And it's almost like I can't at this point see a way out of it. It's like my body and my heart longs for a kind of simpler situation, you know, where you can count on some simple things. But I mean, right now, it's pouring with rain here in Bali. And I don't think it's normally this rainy at this time of the year. So it's like the climate is not reliable, and the relationship with the climate is not reliable, you know, because it becomes a matter of opinion, you know, when you know, people say, well, the science says this and Donald Trump says this. And people feel or seem to feel that they have a license to believe whatever they like, and a license to deny whatever they like. That it doesn't matter. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And from one side, yes, everybody is entitled to their opinion. But from another side, that there's a feeling like the kind of certainties, and you know, they were never really certain certainties, but it feels like it's got a lot worse or a lot stronger, this feeling like I'm wading through muddy waters, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. And I find it very difficult to surrender to allowing this uncertainty and this unreliability of truth and falsehood. Well, that's how it is, you know, like it's a bit like, you know, if you've been in a place where there've been forest fires and the whole air is smoky, you can't breathe. I feel like that. I feel like I can't breathe. And that George Floyd, I don't know if episode is the right word, where this man is saying, I can't breathe. I feel we can't breathe. And masks or no masks, we can't breathe. The physical mask for me is not the real issue. I mean, I can figure that one out. It's like there is a lot of uncertainty about how the waves of the epidemic rise and fall, and what are the implications of that in terms of the rate of spread. You can figure that out, but the general sense that truth is an unvalued commodity, that untruth is spread and propagated so freely and so quickly that I feel myself drowning in a universe of lies. And it's just special moments with people or with nature that give a little bit of a rest. So I feel like a lot of the conspiracy stuff is like, it's a symptom of something else. It's so I'm really with you on that, Ahilan. Sorry if that was a bit rambling.
I just want to say something that that just comes up very strongly. It's like this feeling of, I think it's a feeling of home and gratitude, and yeah, like also gratitude towards myself and towards you all, that in spaces like this it feels even more um, connecting than it ever has before for me personally, because what it's, you don't know what the opinion is of another person. It can be like Ahilan says, that you go into a fight in a bar and a conversation turns out to be so different than expected right now. And so what I experience in circles like this is a very beautiful feeling of home, and I can just talk my truth here. And even I go a little bit over the cliffs with my opinions or whatever, I'm accepted. And this is really beautiful. So this wave is actually going up on the positive side, while of course on the other side there's also a great deal of um, judgment with other people maybe. But yeah, I can feel this very much right now, that when you find the right people to talk about how you feel right now, then it feels extra great. This is what I experience right now. Thank you guys. Mhm.
Thank you. I also feel that way. That if we can express ourselves freely, whatever we think, it's really uplifting. So I would like to encourage others also to share. If you haven't shared yet, you want to say something, and we are listening.
Yeah, I would like to share something that just came out right now, and like going back to the idea of being in between, like when things are not about the absolute truth, when yeah, it's true, when information or truth is not unreliable, it's not about reliability, therefore. So it's about being comfortable with the fact that sometimes it's just unreliable, and unreliability means it's still a part of the equation where you're just in between. You're in a transit where I'm looking at the word social media right now, where there's social, there's media. What is social? What is media? What is in between us and our capacity to socialize, being a social being, being part of a um, society, not necessarily physically together, but somehow, yeah, social media become a gatekeeper between people who like put tax or gate passage to for us to communicate. Like it's before we had the actual mask, we had the mask already in the form of social media. Where now it just becomes so apparent and so obvious. But on the other hand, we are entering a new media, like the um, I lost my thought, but yeah, I guess that's it.
I don't know if I can bring it back into the picture I've got before, but like all you guys shared, just last 3-4 shares is getting this picture of like the question around the mask, right? Like, and this rebelliousness within us, which is like, no, we don't wanna, and like, and the deeper question underneath the whole thing is like experiencing this sense of oneness and dissolving oneself in this, in everything, and then you walk on earth and you see all these people wearing this mask of identities and individualities, and just like, and you're like, I'm not gonna participate in that any longer. Kind of like, no more, like, and like this rebellious of like this, like as they fear to lose their identity, it's me losing the identity of everything, and going back to immerse in the whole thing, and it's just saw the same picture, the same story, and like between like I am somebody and I'm everything, and the whole discussion around that, and just in the reflection of the mask. Do we wear a mask? Do we need to be afraid of the virus or not? And conspiracy, and yeah, you have your truth and you have your truth and I have my truth, and all is false so much anyway, but so true in the same time, right? In the midst of the combat of life itself as human beings in this world. Yeah, just wanted to share that.
A funny little footnote to that, Ricardo. In Indonesia, the word for mask is masker, and when politicians like running, so there's a senior one and then the vice one, they sometimes make an acronym of their names. And in our county, there's an election coming up, and the two people, their acronym is masker. So you know, it's like what? Multi-level masking and unmasking.
Yeah, that's what just brings up the Facebook question, right? Like the book of faces. Everybody has, I mean, there's masks out which have faces drawn on them. It's just like this book of faces, and everybody's just doing. I think it's a good. It might be a painful and a disruptive evolution, but for me myself, I can look really trustfully into the future, as it's like all this pain of being in between and not having like yet the simplistic truth underneath it, and just like, I mean, I think Buddhists teach that since thousands of years, like just do the garden and chop some wood. And that's simple enough, but we still kind of like more complex things and ideas about ourselves as much about the world. So yeah, let's see how this journey goes. Or how fast this journey goes.
So I feel like I'm in this space in between, kind of a self-identity crisis in a way, and I've been, everything that people are sharing is quite interesting for me to observe, because we talk about opinions, and I'm in the space of observing different opinions in myself, and I'm wondering who has an opinion in me, who is this part of myself that think this, or any, like, I feel like I can feel any sides of a question about the mask, about fear, and who is speaking my opinion in me. And I'm not really feeling I'm not tapping into the fear. I understand it, but for me, it's like there's no coronavirus. I put the mask, I respect, and I don't even feel like arguing with anyone. They have their own opinion. I'm just like, okay. And it's really like I can understand both sides, and I don't know, I don't want to live or come from fear. It's like I don't have this belief that I can live like this, and that I want to see how we can move on from this in a more enjoyable way. And also, I feel like it's almost necessary to go through fear, because even being in Maya, like we had discussions at some point of like, oh, what if we don't have food anymore, or things like that. And then we were like, oh, okay. And I could feel fear in me, and I was like, okay, let's go there. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm okay to live on coconuts, and like, but I had to go through these thinking to understand what fear is doing inside of me, and how these different opinions can come up. But now I'm at the point of asking into myself, like, who or what is the face, what mask am I putting on to have a certain opinion about something? Yeah, and what is truth? And if truth is a choice, who in me is speaking a certain truth? Because I feel like I have different parts. They all want to speak up. And which one has the same truth as the other one? How do we create our own identity through each of these parts? And when do we choose to be more one part or the other and have this identity? And why do we choose, or who is choosing to go with more one part or the other? And yeah, I'm really in between. What is an identity? Like, why do I feel the need to create this structure of who I am and having an opinion? Why do I want to have an opinion? Why do I need to, oh, this is me? Like, this is who I am. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Thank you.
There's this conflict, right, between the I'm nobody and I'm I'm me, and this like these two are colliding a lot. And I wonder this for a while, and I'm not yet, if like I don't know, but the best it's to make peace with this paradox, right? Like how can I be and not be at the same time, and what I'm supposed to do in the meantime. and I don't remember, I think Adhailan or Peter or Angela was talking about absoluteness, and it's like I see myself thinking in absolute terms over and over again. It's like now I'm this, and then it's so easily I become this, and I kind of like think I need to be this for a longer period of time. But to be everything sometimes for me feels like, well, then I can be this, and later I need to be this, and then I need to be that, and then again this before, and I need to be lovely, and I need to be angry, and I need to say yes, and I say no, and then I say no again, and then back to yes, and I don't really comprehend why I say no in this moment. But like Evelyn says, like it just feels like feeling somewhat the feeling the body, or feeling this thing coming through me and just like letting me do something, and sometimes I resist it and I just do whatever I think it's the best, but then at the end I end up doing the first thing anyway, sometimes just a little bit later. And for me, like the state in between, it's a long time, like I don't do actively work, or I withdraw a lot from the world, but it just gives me this freedom to experiment with it. But I wonder when is the time to, yeah, when are we becoming something, or are we always something and we just don't get it, and we just like try to complicate and understand and comprehend something which is, it's happening anyway, and it's actually really easily, because it just plays and jumps around in any situation with whatever it needs. Anyway, we keep mumbling.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and the idea of like juggling opinions in the head or outside the head, like whether it's your own opinion or not, kind of like put you really in like, it really makes sense why opinions could be or even truth could be unreliable, and at the same time it looking at the world right now, where all states, almost all country implemented this state of emergency. What is emergency? What is emerging right now? Like how is it to be in a state of emergence where it is what we are talking about? We are not there, and we are not there yet, but we are not there anymore. Like a child being born, a world being born, um, coming, realizing that we are all in this mask, like the mask being imposed right now. Mm. I guess, yeah, I could only imagine a better future. Like, yeah, this is nasty. This is this, this is ridiculous. But at the same time, who we are, who we are, the other that are talking about it, even the others that are being consumed by the politics and by the by the fear, are realizing something. The fact that we know that we are in an emergency situation, that we are emerging, is really important. Yeah, and I guess all I can say is that thank you for hearing everything. Thank you for accepting everything, whether it's unacceptable. Thank you for allowing information to be digested, whether it's you agree with it or not. For I guess it's one of the way we can move things further or or open up more for this emergence to happen in each one, in each body, in each collective into this world. Yeah. For things to bubble up, for the culture to be alive. Yeah, let all invitation, let all perspective, like breathe again. Like it's funny, Corona, crowning. Like you're being born, like Corona, it was like it's crowning now. Thank you for all the ramblings.
And if this new world is emerging, then how do each of us contributes to this future, or what is it that is emerging, and how much do we have, how valuable our input is in it as an individual person? How much do we shape this reality that is coming? Do we just sit and witness and accept that the new world is emerging, or do we take more of an active stance and also contribute into creating this new world how we want to see it? And it's really interesting to see this new world emerging right now, and for the world itself, and even for my personal world, with the baby coming this month probably, and just knowing that she's coming into this world and my life will change so much, and also the world is changing so much at the same time, and everything is just spinning like, wow, she's coming here, and in what kind of world is she's going to land, and how do I create this world for her, even within the compound of our personal reality and our bubble, despite of everything that's happening around. Thank you. That's really awesome to be able to express all this to you guys. If anyone else wants to add something, then
Yeah,
maybe
final words, maybe.
final words, because we've been nearly 2 hours now.
Yeah, I would like to bring our beloved friend Flor into the into our round. She's not participating today, but maybe she is in another realm. And what she told me was really powerful. And maybe I come back to Aylan. Maybe it's something that you are going through, something like this now. I don't know. Maybe it resonates. But what she said, you know, Isa, I have been in all these theories and I went down the rabbit hole. It's a very often used phrase right now too. I've never said that phrase so many times in my life, going down the rabbit hole. So I have been there. But what we should do right now is raise our vibration. And however we're going to do this, she didn't explain it much in the situation because, I mean, I know how she does it, but I think for everybody it can be something very, very different. But I like the idea of, and I need to work for myself on it a lot, to not get angry, to not get pessimistic, to not get too rebellious, to not get too sad about things, to really, like you said, Marta, it's to take this shift with a kind of a grace, and to create like safety around me and around Laya, like a small family and in Maya. And leaving, I think this is also something I take home from this conversation, is like leaving other people and their opinion, because you cannot force anybody to see what you see through your eyes. Or it seems sometimes so easy because all this information is out there. You just need to watch that journalist and this doctor and blah, 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 and then you're gonna believe me. But no, maybe some people are just not ready, and I totally understand. And I don't say that from an arrogant point of view. I'm not ready for a lot of other things either. But yeah, I take this very much in me to leave people where they are. They've chosen their experience, like I choose my experience to have on this earth right now. So yeah, whatever it means for you guys to lift your vibration. Ricardo should stop smoking, that's for sure. Sorry. I love you guys.
Salim, do you want to share something?
Yeah, I don't think it's been brought up. I don't know. I took a shower in between because I needed to be in water. I think I'm on a broken record because I always talk about this, about time. I feel like how we manage our time, our perception of time. You know, as you were talking earlier about dreams and things happening, and you're not sure whether it's happening in the sleep or in the mundane life. I keep having experiences for maybe the past year or so now, with time with my eyes open, waking, time in flux, time going fast, going back, going slower, that like 1 minute can feel like half a lifetime. 2 weeks can feel like, 2 hours sometimes. And now I'm in Singapore, where everything is, I think most people have fear of missing out, especially now that everything is going online as well. Everyone wants everything to continue as usual, even if we can't meet in person. So everything goes online. And theoretically, you could
go to more events, but how much can your brain and your body take? So I'm not very coherent now, but it's just coming in. And this past month, today is the last day, I think, of the Hungry Ghost Festival here, and it's in Taiwan, Hong Kong as well. And I think in India they have a similar version where it's the month where the spirits who are not at peace or have unfinished business, they come back to the earthly realm and hang out. And people give them food and entertainment. And so this past month I've also been doing a lot of ancestral clearing. I think when Flora had her Lionsgate gathering, as well as with the usual Kundalini yoga classes I've been going to, it keeps coming up like this time out in the linear time, but also in the non-linear time where anything could happen. We can go in so many trajectories. There is no one absolute definite place to go to. Everyone can go to different places in space and time. We don't all have to go to the same place. We can definitely choose what our future or the reality we want is going to be. If we trust that that time doesn't have to be linear, and that what has happened in the past is not set in concrete. Extinction is not necessarily forever. And I think there's some science to back that up, but I can't remember what the research is that I came across. So I think about that now, also in the context of ocean acidification and the forest fires going on everywhere and soil depletion, but also regeneration and how effects caused by people have been reversed within a very short period of time. It's all possible. But there is also this existing, not just one, but existing different systems and matrices that want things to be status quo and continue as usual. And so I said this, if I'm in Singapore where one person is considered a protest, you can be arrested for protesting as a single person. So when people talk about freedom, it's when I was in quarantine, I got so fed up of random immigration officers knocking on my door at random times, usually when I'm in the bathroom, or calling me or sending me SMSs, that at one point, I think on the 5th day, I just lock my door from the outside and leave me alone. That would be my freedom, because I felt so harassed. And my door couldn't be locked because I was in a hotel. So the doors were not designed to be locked from the outside. But there were also CCTVs right outside every room door. And I think the week before I was in quarantine, someone was charged in court for violating quarantine. And I can't remember, I think if found guilty, the fine was like $10,000. So, no one really wanted to step out. So yeah, in a way, like, what is freedom? What if we can go flow, if like we can be like water, I don't know, in regards to time, how is that going to shift our realities individually and then as a collective because we're all fractal. Yeah. And I almost don't want to say this because I feel like sometimes if things are said, then there's a greater chance of things becoming reality. I had a conversation with a friend last year who was working with documenting refugee stories, and I had previously lived and volunteered in a refugee camp in the West Bank. And we were talking about, I don't know how the conversation got there, we were talking about people who are displaced, about the Rohingyas and other refugees. And we weren't tripping or anything, but at some point our conversation came around to this idea that maybe the future skills we need are those that refugees have to be super adaptable and being able to find a home wherever you are and find that resources, that resilience and resources in situations where you don't know where your food and drinkable water is coming from, you don't know where your shelter is going to be, but still have that will to live and and be human. Yeah. So that is ending my train of thought, and I need something sweet to eat now.
Wow, thank you. That resonates so much. Yeah, especially the last part, even though all the time parts as well, time in the whole conversation, wherever we look into the whole 2 hours, for me, it's really represent something. There is something expressing, there's something speaking, but it's not speaking only one language. It's not speaking only in one truth. It's not speaking through mind. It's also speaking through mind and body. It's not speaking only through personal. It's also speaking through global and personal. It is in the dense space. It is, as Martha already said, when that space is dense, then the expansion can be bigger. There is something speaking through at that moment, what I feel. And there's, wherever we look, there is this stretching of everything so that it feels like it cannot ever can go together. It can go together. It's so extended. But at the same time, it is opening to create something. And yeah, I'm really thankful for having this space to share. It could continue longer, but thank you each and everyone for having the wisdom to listen without reacting. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I think maybe that's all for today. And thank you so much, everyone, for contributing to this. It feels really good to be in this space again.
Thank you for hosting it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marta. And good luck for the little one. Can happen any day now.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.